Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is 9 a.m. Thanks for watching Daybreak here on WGRZ Plus. We are streaming through 9:30 this morning, and we begin with news in the Middle East. This morning, the U.S. and Israel have launched new airstrikes on Iran, and now officials confirm there are American fatalities. Congress returns tomorrow with briefings set for Tuesday as some lawmakers push for a vote requiring congressional approval before any further action. Alice Barr has details from Washington. Good morning, Alice.
This morning, the Pentagon confirming 3 U.S. Air Force fighter jets crashed in Kuwait, mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses during active combat under Iranian attacks. All 6 American crew members ejected and were recovered safely. It comes amid growing violence in the Middle East, with Israel and Iranian-backed Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon exchanging fire, following this weekend's U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran.
Mr. President, who do you want to meet Iran?
President Trump is back in Washington, lawmakers returning tomorrow for the classified briefings many are pressing for.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in the Saturday strikes, and now 2 sources briefed on the matter tell NBC News the attacks were timed based on intelligence Khamenei would be at a meeting with senior leaders. As Iran strikes back, 3 American service members are confirmed killed in action. U.S. officials tell NBC News they were part of an army unit based in Kuwait. 5 others were seriously wounded. President Trump mourning the losses while warning.
And sadly, there will likely be more.
The president told NBC News in a phone interview he decided to act because Iran was unwilling to say they would not have a nuclear weapon following weeks of negotiations. Reaction from Capitol Hill largely split on party lines.
I think the president has started a war of choice. There was no imminent threat to the United States.
The largest state sponsor of terrorism, Iran, is close to collapsing.
Across this country, Iranian Americans hoping for freedom, while protesters fear a spreading conflict. Lawmakers are expected to vote this week on a war powers resolution that would require President Trump to get approval from Congress before taking further military action. Democrats expect some Republicans to join them, acknowledging it would be a close vote that they say would send an enormous message. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
This morning, a man close to the family of Nurul Amin Shah Alam says that they are still seeking answers after his death. The 56-year-old nearly blind refugee was found dead last Tuesday, days after being dropped off by Border Patrol outside a closed Tim Hortons in Buffalo. And over the weekend, the push for answers moved to Niagara Square. Daybreak's Natalie Foss joins us live from the newsroom this morning with the story. Natalie, what are they saying?
Well, dozens of people went to Niagara Square on Saturday to remember Shah Alam, but also to call for action and for more investigation into the events leading up to his death. Shah Alam's family held a press conference. You can see them here. That happened on Saturday alongside that rally. At the rally, Imran Fazal spoke on behalf of the family, saying that they don't speak much English. Fazal said that on top of not speaking much English, Shah Alam never received a cultural orientation that refugees typically get upon arrival here in the United States, and that he also had severely impaired vision. He tells us that the family have so many questions when it comes to what happened in the time between Shah Alam's release from prison and his death.
Why they didn't call my son, why they didn't call the police, why they didn't call the lawyer, why they didn't provide an interpreter, why they didn't left him in a place where he could be safe and warm. These are the questions the mother is asking.
A spokesperson for the Erie County Sheriff's Office told Two on Your Side that the agency doesn't typically notify family for routine releases from the holding center, and any accommodations would have been handled by Border Patrol. Now, at this time, the Erie County Department of Health and Medical Examiner's Office are still reviewing the case. The cause and manner of Shah Alam's death is still pending at this time. On Your Side in the newsroom, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
All right, Natalie, lots of unanswered questions. We're going to stay on top of this story for sure. Thank you. Well, we've got an update now on the search for 3 missing teens in Buffalo. Police say 2 of them have now been found. They are still searching for that 3rd teen. So take a look at your screen. This is 13-year-old Tyrone Green. He's got black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen near Delaware and Bryant. 5 feet 6 inches tall, last seen wearing a black hoodie and black pants. If you have any information on where he might be, you're asked to give police a call. 3 people are without a home this morning following this fire in Genesee County. It's in a rural area about 15 miles southeast of Batavia. Fire officials say no one was home at the time of the fire last night. We're told there were no hydrants near the property and it was on a hill, making it quite a challenge for firefighters.
There's not an actual hydrants or anything in this area, so we had to establish a water source from another location. The other hurdle that we kind of had was we have a single driveway coming all the way up from Roanoke and Star Road. So with that being said, once you start dropping 5-inch up the road to supply these trucks with water, you're kind of held up on that wise for getting other trucks up this way.
And officials do believe that the house is a total loss, and we're still working to find out what caused the fire. We're also working to learn more about this fire at the site of the former Gordy's Harper's Bazaar in Newfane. This video is from the scene Saturday night on Lockport Alcott Road. At this time, it's unclear if anyone was hurt or how the fire started. We have reached out to fire officials and we'll keep you updated both on air and online as soon as new information becomes available. And happening today, a court appearance that could bring closure finally to the family of a murdered Jamestown woman. Michael Burham, the man who killed his ex-girlfriend and led police on 2 separate interstate manhunts, is scheduled to be sentenced today. In May of 2023, Burham killed Kayla Hodgkin and then fled the state, kidnapping a Pennsylvania couple and forcing them to drive him to South Carolina. Burham was captured but then later escaped from jail. And now, nearly 3 years after his original crime, Burham has pleaded guilty to Hodgkin's murder. He'll be sentenced to 25 years to life in prison today. He's already serving a 25 to 50-year sentence for his crimes in Pennsylvania. All right, Patrick, it's a pretty purple and pink color behind you, but it's never good to see, especially in March.
You know, purple is, by the way, it's a very royal color.
Yes.
It's also the color of insanity. Did you know that?
No, but it does not shock me that you know that.
I have lots of purple ties. My grandfather told me that. It's the color of insanity. I don't know what that means.
Like white roses are purity and red is love and yellow is friendship.
And you give somebody purple roses, I think you're insane. Here. That's true. Anyway, purple doesn't really denote anything really good. It usually denotes cold. And sometimes the coldest of cold shows up as purple. Pink can also be cold, also denotes ice. We like the softer palette of pastels. Anyway, but yeah, purple generally is a signal for colder numbers. 17 in Niagara Falls, 17 in Rochester, Buffalo 2, 12 in Jamestown. So high clouds that kind of moved overhead have quickly shifted south, leaving us with a sunny day today. It's going to be really nice. This system here is going to pass to our south. This system here bringing a little wet weather to Pueblo, Colorado. That's going to head our way and bring some light rain our way during the day tomorrow. Now today we're filled with sun. Overnight tonight we'll see some increasing high clouds. Eclipse time 6:30 to 7 a.m. Eclipse meaning a lunar eclipse, not a solar one, which we had 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. A lunar eclipse where the Earth's shadow is cast upon a setting moon. It will make the moon not disappear, but just look like a very deep red color. And that's what we'll see as the moon sets tomorrow. We believe that the thicker clouds that are coming should hold off until after daybreak, which will allow us to see this lunar eclipse. We're hoping anyway, but all bets are off after that because clouds will roll in and we will see some very light rain tomorrow, maybe even a little freezing rain across the southern tier, but it will be very light, just a little glaze potentially. But roads could be a little slippery. There's the rain for Tuesday, dry weather on Wednesday, and then here comes another area of rain for Thursday, possibly lingering into Friday, and then another system on Saturday. So we're getting into a warmer and wetter weather pattern in the days ahead, including today. I mean, it's not including today, sorry, including tomorrow. As you'll see here in the 7-day forecast, There we go. Rain on Thursday, temperatures in the low 50s, mid to upper 50s on Friday with some showers. Rain on Saturday, and then a few showers possible, Melissa, and low 50s as we move our clocks forward on Sunday.
I'm excited about that. With
Are you?
Sunset
the
after
sunsets.
7. Yes.
Right. That is cool. That is true.
One quick question about the lunar eclipse.
Yep.
With it being a setting moon, is it going to still be high enough in the sky to see it red and bright?
Yeah, I mean, it's setting, so instead of looking up, you're going to look kind of out.
Right.
So
it could be behind.
No, it can't be behind it because you're over the lake, so it won't be shielded.
Oh.
So it'll set. You will be able to see it set. Okay. So yes, if it depends on the clouds. If there are no clouds, you are going to see a setting moon low in the horizon, obviously, because it's setting, and it'll be like a big red-orange as opposed to kind of a whiter look, and it will be setting during the eclipse, okay? So it's setting while it's in totality.
And where should I be looking in the sky?
Where I'd look to the west.
West.
So, yeah, that's where the moon will be setting.
Okay. And we will
And
try to
we'll
show you
have our
pictures.
cameras.
Yeah, like tune
all of
into
our cameras
Daybreak on
over it.
Channel 2 because the timing really works out quite well with us.
It's all about the clouds. So if everybody can take a deep breath and blow towards the south, the clouds away. Hopefully.
And I won't blame you. You don't have control. You just are the messenger. All right, Patrick, thanks. We'll have a lot more coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. After the Buffalo Sabres clean sweep in Florida, take a look at the Eastern Conference playoff picture. At the top, it is Tampa and Carolina trading blows for the #1 spot, which would match up against the second wild card team. Right now, that's the Bruins. But what's even more interesting, look at how tight it is after that. Every team is packed close together with two teams tied just 1 point behind the Sabres. But, you know, as crazy as it sounds, given the recent history of the Sabres, our time is actually better spent thinking what seed the Sabres are going to be this postseason instead of if they'll get to the postseason. If the Stanley Cup playoffs started today, the Sabres would host the Montreal Canadiens in the first round, and then the winner would play the winner of the top Atlantic team and the first wild card, which would be Detroit and Tampa today. Now, the Sabres' main goal in all of this, either win the division or maintain the 2 seed, because if they drop to a wild card, they would either have to travel to Carolina or Tampa, not really ideal. And if they were to fall just 1 spot in the Atlantic, they would play on the road in Montreal, and we've seen how loud those Montreal fans can be. So it's been 16 years since going into March the Sabres are in a playoff spot.
So what does that mean? But we have not been in the playoffs for 14 years. So what are those 2 years? Did we make the playoffs like last minute? We weren't in a playoff position in March?
And then they did make it.
Like last minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just 14 long years. So it's really exciting.
And I think it's also exciting to see how this team just seemed to gel in December. I mean, they were terrible to start. Was trying to what was their record on Thanksgiving?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, or just that time of the season. Because then
because they had that really long losing streak.
And then they had the 10-game winning streak.
Right.
Which was just like the start of things to come.
And then all season we were also saying they haven't strung 3 games together. They haven't.
Oh my, do you remember that?
Yes, they haven't had a
We were
win
hoping
streak
for
because
3.
It was
It
3
was
in a
huge.
row is all we wanted.
We just had 3 in a row in our sleep.
The Sabres just came back from the Olympic break.
Won 3 in a row.
They've had 3 games and they've won 3,
all in a row,
including beating
all on the road.
The best team in the league.
All on the road. It's just amazing.
So you asked earlier what's happening for the gold medal, the acknowledgement of the gold medal medalists
Tuesday,
tomorrow.
Yes.
And so there's going to be some rally towels for Tage. I think they're going to say TNT because it's Tage and Nathaniel Thompson. So there's going to be some Tage rally towels to everyone in the stands. And then there will be certain like gold medal drinks and foods at a lot of the different concessions. The website, I looked at buffalosabres.com, they didn't really say anything about acknowledging Jack Eichel, but I would imagine that.
Well, it wasn't planned to acknowledge Tage, back in New Jersey.
Right.
It was kind of impromptu.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I despite the history and what Eichel kind of represents around here, I think you have to acknowledge what he did for the team. And it would be weird if we didn't. If the Sabres.
And I think when Jack comes back here as just a Golden Knight, knowing how yucky it was when he left and the things that
and
he
it can get that
said.
way after the ceremony.
Right. But when you're acknowledging him for playing for our country and representing Team USA and helping the team to win a gold medal, I think that Sabres fans will recognize that and be
respectful. And I mean, you've got 20,000 people. There will be some boo birds in there, but you hope that can come later when he's back. Now
when
later
he's just wearing the Golden Knights jersey and not a USA.
But kind of show a little respect at the beginning, if in fact that's how they play it out.
I have faith in Sabres fans. I think that they will be respectful. Okay, switching to football now. The NFL Combine has wrapped up, and now we are hearing from head coach Joe Brady.
Look, I'm animated no matter what. That's kind of my personality. I hope nothing changes in who I am, through this. I'm the same person I was when I was a GA as the same guy in front of you right now, right?
This was Joe Brady's first NFL Draft Combine as head coach of the Buffalo Bills, and his first as an NFL head coach, period. Brady said he's not sure how his sideline energy will translate in his new role, but he knows one thing for sure. He's no longer just in the coach's box. Now he's the one who's going to be driving the Bills through their hopeful playoff window.
It's important for everybody to understand is that I'm not the offensive coordinator anymore either, right? And so I can't be viewed in that role, and it's important for me to, bridge those gaps.
I thought he was calling the plays though.
He is going to be calling the plays.
But he's not the offensive coordinator.
No. That happens.
No, I know. Well, yeah.
There are lots of other teams that have that the head coach calls all the plays and the offensive coordinator just kind of like constructs things
it. Okay,
gotcha.
Now that makes sense.
Does all the planning.
Right. That's true. That's true. Well, this season is exciting, but it's also stressful given the pressure and the fact that our schedule is so tough.
It is.
It is so tough. The only gimmies are the Jets and maybe Miami.
You had Lauren just, she giggled over there because she's a Jets fan.
For now, yeah. Jets, no, I think they've been laughing since 1972, the last time the Jets did anything meaningful. Sorry, Lauren. Joe Namath you got to go back to, right?
Yeah.
Or Mark Sanchez,
but
or
this
who else?
Season, playing the Broncos, playing the Ravens, playing
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, of course. But who knows what the Chiefs are going to look like?
Do we play the NFC West? No. Do we? No, we don't. AFC West, I think. So that's the Broncos and the Chargers, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a tough schedule, man. And now we've got an offensive line where we might be losing one or two offensive linemen with Edwards and what's his name? Matthew?
Milano?
No. We have two offensive linemen who we may be losing to free agency. Two of them, yeah. And Edwards and, right?
I'm sorry. I'm not.
My point is, Connor McGovern and another one. They're two of the main key players, not Dion.
Should I just continue? Okay.
No, my point is that you can't keep all of these great players because of
there's going to be
salary cap.
There's movement all over the place.
We're not. Okay, we've been on together for 5 hours, so
it's been a long morning.
Give us a little leeway.
Okay, Jordan Tyson. He is a wide receiver from Arizona State. He was at the Combine. He talked about some of the interviews, who was tough, who wasn't. He said that the Ravens asked some tough questions, but he also said Joe Brady's interview was also pretty tough. Here's what he had to say.
Yes, sir. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. Loves ball for sure. He's trying to get me on a couple of questions, but sure, he ain't get me. It was just like little slick, little small nuances in the question. I can't really remember the specific, but he was definitely. I wouldn't say he was trying to get me. He was just trying to see how much I know.
Yep, Brady has to use this time at the Combine to get in the minds of the prospects. He knows what they can do on the field, but what are they going to be like mentally moving forward?
Who does he play for again?
Arizona State.
Arizona.
I don't know anything.
I know.
About the draft class.
I know that there's a couple.
26th pick.
And some people feel that that's a good place to be.
Because there's no one really great at the top.
Right. Well, and there's just, then you can move around, and some good receivers may last that long. You know, Concepcion is one, and there's been a few others. So I don't know. It's coming up in what, 6 weeks, the draft. So it's we have some holes to fill. We need a linebacker, we need a safety, and we need a receiver or two.
Good luck to Joe Brady.
Yep.
And Brandon Beane. All right, we'll be right back. 8 more minutes, Patrick.
We can do it.
We'll be Welcome back, everybody. Time to go out to eat this morning. Very appropriately, we're going to a breakfast place. Lauren Hall gives us an inside look at a new cafe that had its grand opening yesterday in Kenmore.
From food truck to full-service cafe, Dimples, known for its mini Dutch pancakes called poffertjes, has come to Kenmore.
A new cafe in Kenmore is introducing the village to a Dutch tradition.
So the poffertjes are these Dutch pancake that originate from Holland in the 1700s. Has a mixture of buckwheat flour, milk, eggs, butter, and it's special to me because my grandparents always made them for me as a kid.
Lion Laskew started Dimples as a stand in the Broadway market, naming his business after the pan he cooks the pancakes in.
So the name Dimples my mom came up with because as we were searching for poffertjes pans, sometimes they're described as having 50 dimples or 100 dimples. So we also like that Dimples kind of is associated with smiling and happiness.
He later launched a food truck to visit local festivals where he would typically attract a crowd.
At the stand starting out, that's how I got attention. Kids would come up and families would come up, watch me make the pancakes. The truck was a little higher up, which made it harder, and I was craving getting back to more on everyone else's level.
And that's just what he can do at his new cafe, located at 2938 Delaware Avenue.
I really wanted a space that customers could sit and watch us work, which is why it's a very open kitchen here, as well as roasting our coffee, brewing our coffee, which is a special cold drip process, which we have a couple towers on display.
The extra space also opened things up for Laskew to expand the menu with egg dimples and more.
Customizable egg bites that are cooked in the poffertjes pan. And then really our coffee has been a big expansion here. We have kind of a dedicated coffee station where in the truck it was a little tight to do as much as I'd like.
Dimples Cafe is now open to the public Thursdays through Mondays starting at 7:30 a.m. On your side in Kenmore, Lauren Hall, Channel 2 News.
Pancakes, waffles, or French toast? If you go out to a diner, what are you getting?
Waffles all day, all night.
Syrup or like fruit on it with whipped cream?
Oh, why would you ruin? Sorry, there's a lot of people that like whipped cream and fruits. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just not my jam.
You want syrup? Do you have to have them in every single
cranny, every little pocket? What's funny is that if you have them in all pockets but 3, you kind of get a nervous tick. Something's not right. Something's not right. No, it doesn't. It's just if I have a double stack, I need to make sure that there's syrup underneath.
But not so much that they get soggy.
Oh, that's okay. Soggy waffles? Oh, that's the best.
No, I want the crisp.
No, not on the edges, but it's okay for when you get into the center, it's a little soggy. Yeah, it's fine. But I get the fruit and whipped cream. It's just, I don't know.
And real quickly, we were talking about pancakes, and I said how terrible I am at making pancakes. Not necessarily the flavor, but I can't get them. They're either too thin or too thick and not flat enough. I don't know if I'm using not enough butter on the skillet or what it is, but I'm awful at making pancakes.
Yeah, I don't like it when they're too cakey. I like the thin.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just less batter then,
Or more water?
Yeah, as I told you, we add sour cream.
Right, this is the other thing. So you were saying, you went with, here's the recipe, and you add sour cream.
My aunt used to make these with sour cream, and they were small and really thin, and they were just not cakey. They were the best.
From scratch or from the box?
From scratch. Okay. Maybe the box, the Bisquick, but then you add in other stuff like cinnamon, chocolate chips sometimes, banana slices, which are bomb, and then sour cream was just, I don't know why, but it's a really nice.
So Elliot has sleepover parties for his birthday, which is coming up this week. That's why I'm bringing this up. And so I do pancakes for the kids in the morning, but I cheat and I use the frozen ones that you just stick in the microwave.
Well, they will, yeah.
3 of the kids went to their parents
And
and
said
said they're the best pancakes I've ever had.
And
then they
parents
wrote me for the
are
recipe.
judging you. Oh,
And
geez.
I'm like, I stuck them in the microwave.
Well, think about
for
how
30
less
seconds.
dishes there are. There's no bowls to clean.
No.
Yeah.
And I can't screw them up.
Right. Toast them in their
So, microwave
perfect circles,
pancakes.
and they're
They're
perfectly
perfect.
tan. You know, they're perfectly cooked.
Oh gosh, I
Yeah.
really try not to do a lot of microwavable stuff, but like, hello.
Well, think about how often we do frozen waffles. I mean, frozen pancakes just maybe you're not as.
But Elliot's favorite food is also French toast, and I do French toast from scratch for
Oh.
him, like with the big challah bread.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's because he wants like the thick bread.
What
So
do
that's
you do to make your French toast special?
Just eggs, milk.
But no, like cinnamon or.
Well, a lot of cinnamon.
A lot of cinnamon,
And
okay.
a lot of people put vanilla
Or Grey
extract.
Marnier. Have you ever done that?
Grey Marnier.
Yeah.
I'm getting my kid buzzed.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
For breakfast.
So that's where it all began. No, we used to put Grand Marnier in the syrup. It was kind of a thing.
Of course you did.
It was like an orange liqueur, right? It was really good. That's what maybe it was when I was an adult.
Bye, everybody.